Hi everybody, my name is Catherine Gomes and I am super excited to talk to you about how to prep now for a great year of math. So it's summertime and we're starting to look towards the fall. Maybe you're a little nervous about how math is going to go. I've got 3 tips for you, 3 really simple things that you can do now to just kind of smooth that re-entry and have a wonderful, successful, blessed year of math. So first of all, let me just introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Catherine Gomes. I was homeschooled K through 12. I survived. Maybe that's all some of you need to hear today. And I'm now homeschooling my 3 kids along with my husband who's helping us out as well. So I have a 6-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, she's almost 4, and a 1-year-old who's just tearing my house apart. I taught math in the public schools, and then I came back home to be with my kids, and I've been tutoring and teaching homeschooled kids math for decades, really. And I recently, it's not really recently announced, was able to be the author on the brand new Apologia math books. Some of you are saying like, I didn't know Apologia had math. That's because they are brand new. We have 1st grade and we have 2nd grade. So I'll throw in a few tidbits from these just because I'm super excited about them. But I want to give you 3 practical things you can do this summer to get ready for math. And if you have future questions or comments, I have my Facebook page is Catherine Gomes. I'm always posting things on there. Even some of the resources I'm going to mention, I linked up on there. And I'm also on Instagram as Homeschool Math Mom, and I just put quick pictures and ideas of how to teach different concepts, what we're doing in our house, math games, that kind of thing. So follow, and get more ideas. We're all in this together. All right, so what are 3 things you can do now to get ready for a great year of math? Well, I'm going to show you how to pick your tools, how to prep your space, and how to plan for pitfalls. All right, so let's start with picking our tools. And to do this, I want to flip my camera around so I can show you some things. I'm going to be doing a wide range here. I want to show you some elementary things, obviously because I wrote an elementary math program, but I also have some ideas for middle schoolers, high schoolers. So, maybe drop something in the comments so I know what age your kids are and I'm not way off from what you're looking for. All right. Okay, so picking your tools. So I think we all are aware that carpenters need tools, and even I think, we have a sense that scientists have certain tools, but, mathematicians have tools too, right? And one of the main tools that we use in learning math is the book, right? The book is key. I have a high school book here too that I'm going to show you as an example. So I always started, when I taught in the public schools, when I teach at our homeschool co-op, I begin by just showing the kids that the book is a tool for learning. So as you're looking at curriculum, just keep in mind the book is one of the main tools. And there's a couple things to look for. So at the elementary level, you want to look for color, engagement, and a program that really breaks down the math into manageable chunks. So I'm not going to go into this in detail now, but one of the things that I'm just so grateful for and excited about with Apologia Math is the color and the design that they were committed to. So these showed up at our house. I was super excited as the author, but my 6-year-old is like, can we start math? Can we start math? Because he is excited about just the look and the feel of it. So that helps with learning. That makes the book a good tool. You want to be excited to start your math program as the parent, and you want your child to be excited as well. You also want to kind of look to see if the book has breadth in terms of skill level. So one thing we did, I wanted you to be able to use this program with kids who were super strong in math, as well as kids who maybe say they hate math. I've heard that a bunch of times. It's okay. It doesn't offend me. So in the teaching guide, we put notes And one of the main things that I addressed in these notes is like, what should you do if your child is just like flying through this and is ready for more? Well, here's what you could do. Here's how you can take it further. You might be familiar with this from Apologia Science. And then what do you do if your child is not getting it? They're struggling. I have suggestions like here's how you could model it with manipulatives, that type of thing. So when you're looking at your book as a tool, that's kind of what you want to be looking at from an elementary perspective. And then in middle school and high school, the book is a tool as well. This is the book I'm going to be using. I'm teaching high school geometry this year at our co-op. I'm super excited. I'm going to be doing, first grade math and high school geometry. It's going to be a party. But I picked this book because the explanations were really good. They had some nice pictures and good examples. And the first day in class, I am going to have the kids look carefully at this book, and we're going to see everything that was included in our math book to help us learn. I actually have a printable. It's on my Facebook page, and I could also post it here for you guys later, of the activity sheet I'm going to take them through, where we're going to skim through the book, look at the pictures, start to think about what we're going to be learning. I want to make sure kids know what resources are available in the back of the book. All this is just a part of viewing your math book as a tool for learning. All right, so what other tools do you need? So, of course, you need your book, but that's not all. Let's look at tools for elementary. I think everybody's pretty familiar. Elementary math means manipulatives. And what kinds of manipulatives? Well, there's so many, but I'm going to show you my favorite ones. I'm not really a fan of like buying tons and tons of math-specific manipulatives. But if you were to grab one math manipulative, I would tell you to get base 10 blocks. I love these guys. Basically, they're just blocks that model our base 10 system. So you can build numbers. So this is 100 here. A flat is 100. This is 10, so I can do 130. And then these are ones. So this would be 132. Now, that's just me building one number. There are a gazillion activities that you could do with base 10 blocks. The best things are regrouping, teaching subtraction, that type of thing. You can buy whole books just on base 10 activities. So I think this is a super important tool for elementary learning. I'm going to show you a few other ones, though. Let me get my stuff here. Linking cubes are a lot of fun. Linking cubes are just cubes that link together. Okay, so this set that I have has 10 sets of 10, and each set of 10 is in a different color. We used these in kindergarten a whole bunch, but I know we're going to use them a bunch in first grade and second grade. They're great for addition, subtraction, right? You just break the cubes. You can use them for like area and perimeter as you get into the higher grades, because you can build a rectangle kind of like this, and then fill it in, and then count the perimeter, count the area. Here, I'll finish my rectangle. You can use them in measurement. These guys are great. Lots of bang for your buck with a tool like that. And the one other, well, actually two other. There's so many fun tools for math. In elementary, they're always talking about counters. And really what a counter is just something you can count that you can use to model the math. So this is like the standard. Anybody know what these are? What is like the standard counter used in elementary? Beans, right? We're always using beans. Why do we use beans? Well, beans are great counters because these are garbanzo beans. We're Middle Eastern, so we have garbanzo beans. Garbanzo beans are great, as well as other beans, because they're like about the right size for a child to hold. And honestly, why I think beans are popular is they're so affordable. I bought this bag of beans like 10 years ago for $1, and we're still using it all the time. So that's one type of counter. If you want to up the ante a little bit and get your kid excited, I went to the dollar store and I got these beads as a different type of counter, just because they have color. and my daughter's already excited about using them. So I was just in the dollar store and kind of going nuts on all the things they have in there that you could use for math. So for just a little bit more money, a little bit more planning, you can get something fun. At our co-op, we had these like little teddy bears, and the kids loved making groups of 5, making groups of 10, just because they were colored teddy bears. All right, one more tool for elementary math, Uno cards. So again, super affordable, and you can use them for more than just math. We use these so much for math that we have 2 sets of Uno cards in our house. One set stays upstairs and is in pristine condition, and that's our Uno set. And then this set is very well loved, and I've taken all the draw 2, reverse is out. And we use these for a whole bunch of things, and you'll see them in Apologia Math. But like one of our favorites is we use them to practice making 10s, and like different ways that you can make 10. Sometimes we practice them for like number recognition. You just need numbered cards for all kinds of things in math, and these are a really inexpensive way to make that happen. All right, let me show you a couple tools for the higher level math as you're picking your tools. So a super important thing in middle school and high school is graph paper. And I always feel a little silly saying this because it's simple, but I've noticed this as a big problem with my students at the higher levels is they can really struggle with graphing. And when we talk about it, one of the reasons some of them have said is they didn't have graph paper readily available. So either they were doing graphs on notebooks like this, right? Or some of them, if they're honest, would tell me they actually would just skip the graphs because they didn't feel like getting the graph paper. So if you're a really pretty strong math student, drawing a graph on this and labeling it is not going to be a big deal for you. But if you're a student who struggles, something like that can be kind of like the game changer that has you get lost or frustrated or just overly burdened by the problem. So actually, we have a link for you guys. This is a graph paper printable that my mom helped me develop. It's based on what I used when I taught in the public schools, and then I've just continued to give it to my math students because it's made such a difference for them. So 4 graphs on a page, it's labeled already, so that right there helps a lot. And then we have a couple other versions for you. This is ideal for Algebra 1 student. I found for my students, just putting on here slope, y-intercept, help them so much with labeling and learning what's important about a graph, right? And then this one is ideal for Algebra 2 students. Anyone could use it, but this is more for parabolas. So I have right here the vertex, the x-intercepts, and this really was a game changer for my high school students. So again, that's a free printable. We should have the link. If not, I'll post it later. All right, so you want to have that graph paper and then calculators. So this is my recommended calculator for high school, the TI-83. I actually have a brand new one in the mail coming to me. I love the TI-83. My sort of pep talk on calculators is I think it's a great idea to get your child a TI-83 sooner rather than later. There's other brands that are just fine. That's just my personal preference. But this calculator will carry them through high school and into college. And so if you get it for them a little sooner, they get more practice with it and you get your money's worth. And one thing about calculators is you have to learn how to use them. So it doesn't really work to always do math without a calculator. And then somebody lends you one for the SAT or something like that and you don't know how to use it. So get that calculator and be ready for it and ready to go, and a good math program will teach your child how to use the calculator effectively. One other thing I wanted to add about that is I know there's a big debate, are calculators helpful? Are they unhelpful? I did some research on this because, I'm writing up through 6th grade with Apologia, and I wanted to make sure I knew what I was going to do in terms of calculators. And the research shows that a mix of non-calculator and calculator use is the best thing. So you want kids to learn the skills off calculator so they understand the concept, but then technology also really helps them recognize patterns, or work with larger numbers that can be burdensome. So having a calculator that they can use for certain activities like repeated addition so that they can find the patterns of multiplication, that type of thing, is a great thing. All right, so those are your tools. Those are your tools. Next thing I want to talk about is how to prep your space. And let me flip this over. Okay. All right, so prepping your space. So you've got your book, you've got your calculator. It's time to get organized. And again, we all know this. We all know it's important to be organized. Organization is like a math trait, and yet sometimes it doesn't happen. So for the younger kids, I really want you to do this for them as their parent, to set them up. And if you have a middle schooler or a high schooler, you want to be training them in this, because organization is not just a life skill, it's a math skill. Okay, that's my little speech. So I'm super excited. I had this on Instagram. We were talking about it as a community. This is my math bin, and this is going to change my life this year. I'm so excited about this. So maybe you can let me know in the comments if this is you as well. But in our house, we can be all set up for math. We're in a groove. We've got Bach playing, right? We're ready to learn. And then like mommy can't find the dice. There's dice all over the house, right? And then school starts and the dice are gone somewhere with the paper clips. I don't know where they went. And we lose an hour looking for the dice. It can't happen. This year I'm like, this cannot happen. So we're using Apologia Math, and in the back of Apologia Math, there's a tear out list of all the materials that you need for the year. I have these materials because this is what I do, right? I have math stuff everywhere, but the game changer is I'm putting them in this bin. And so I had almost everything I needed, but when I went to the dollar store, I got these beads. I'm like, hey kids, math beads. You may not take them out of the bin, at least until we do the first day of school. I have my dice as I'm finding them around the house. They're going in the bin. Don't touch the bin, right? This one's super fun. I don't know if your dollar store has it. This is like worth $5 to me. You get to write the numbers on the dice. So we do higher numbers so that when we play our math games, we get to try, harder facts. I got my Uno cards in here. I got my flashcards, right? Okay, these are also a dollar store find. These are super fun, these mini cups. You can use them to have your kids like make groups. There's a lot of things you can do with this actually. All right, so it's all together in the bin. The bin's on the shelf, the book's on the shelf. We're ready. What about like the older kids? So it's kind of the same premise. Get your book whatever shelf your book's on. This is instructions for your child. This is what I'm going to tell my students this fall. You have your calculator. Your calculator lives on that shelf, okay, with a spare set of batteries. Can you tell that I've been down the road of calculator woes? Like if you lose the calculator, it's not helping you. So you have your book, you have your calculator, you have a notebook for math that hopefully can last you the whole year. Excuse me. It's a little better, right? If you can have one notebook instead of like, we keep filling these one subject notebooks. And you have your graph paper. Target, I love Target, but that's a side story. Target is selling these graph paper notebooks. If you see one, send me a picture because I'm super excited. They're like this, except it's not college ruled. It's graph paper. I like flipped out. I almost bought a whole bunch. And I'm like, I have a 6-year-old. Calm down. But one of those would be great. My geometry students are using a 3-ring binder, and I'm going to have them have a graph paper section in the binder. So it's all together. It seems so simple. It's a big game changer. All right, so you picked your tools. You prepped your space. The last thing is to plan for pitfalls. We need to plan for pitfalls. Let's be realistic. Right now, it's summertime, and we have these great schemes. But I learned this last year as well. Like, no matter what your plan is, things are going to change. Potty training doesn't go the way you think it's going to. You're now like 2 weeks behind in math or whatever. So what I have found to be helpful is that I just plan into that we're going to have interruptions, that we're going to have delays. And then when those things happen, I'm ready for it. So let me give you some concrete examples of what I mean. Let me flip this around again so I can show you what we've been doing here. It's planning week at our house. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Homeschool Math Mom, that's who I am, you can see me planning my way this week. So I grabbed one of these. Apologia sells them. I'm a big fan of the author. It is written by my mom, so disclaimer, I'm partial. But I'm loving it. I'm loving this planner. And how you use this planner, it's a little bit unique. It's a planning system. So she explains it all. I'm not going to redo what my mom did so well. But you start by planning for the year. Let me show you that page. So I planned for the year. I kind of chuckled as I was planning for the year because like COVID has like taught us that, write in pencil. And then from there, you plan for the months. So I penciled in my goals for each month. And then as you get into the nitty gritty, you plan each week. And I'm finding that to be a lot better because when I plan every day for the whole year, I just get mad because we get behind and then I'm like, I'm off. But one thing that I wanted to say in terms of planning for pitfalls is when I am planning like grace weeks or catch-up weeks into these months. And whenever I plan that, I'm always annoyed, like if we did 5 more math lessons in September, we could do level 1 and level 2 in a year. Like when I'm writing in the summer, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, come on, let's do more. But then when it's actually September and I'm teaching geometry and I'm writing Apologia math and I'm trying to homeschool, I'm so excited when we get to like a grace week. So I would recommend that. The Apologia math, we've given you in the front a suggested daily schedule to make it super easy for you. But just remember, it's always your call. Like, does your child need to slow down and review? Could they move faster? How is this working for you? So even, I helped design this schedule and then I tweaked it when I put it in my planner because I know my son and I know what he needs and I kind of know how our life works or does not work. So that's the first thing I say in planning for pitfalls is just give yourself those grace weeks, give yourself those chances to catch up. With high school, I think that if you know there might be problems, you kind of want to plan into that. So, you know this, like if your child didn't have a great year last year, or maybe things ended on a very disrupted note, and you're thinking this could be a tough year for them with math, either because like every year seems to be a tough year for them with math, or just, there's some anxiety going into it. I would say, okay, pray into that, of course, and then plan into that. And you want to plan into it quantitatively. So what do I mean by that? Set a percentage, in my mind, like 70%, and talk with your child. Like if you fall below this percentage on a quiz or a test, some type of assessment, here's what's going to happen. We are going to get on Khan Academy to review. We're going to talk through the chapter together. We're going to call in dad for help. We're going to get an older sibling. But maybe even have it in writing. Like have a plan. What's going to happen if and when your student starts to struggle. What you don't want to do is they start to struggle and we just kind of keep plowing ahead and like another chapter and another chapter. And when we finally are like, we need to get our child help, they've spent like 3 months just like lost. And then I get called in as a tutor and I'm like, oh my goodness, like you've been lost for 3 months. And it takes like a month just to like, what was the original issue? So I think that just kind of knowing ahead of time, if you have someone who's good with math, who could be a tutor or someone in the family who's on call, then it's not like this great catastrophe when your child's like, I don't understand math. You're like, okay, we already said this is what's going to happen. So those are my thoughts on that. All right, well, those are my suggestions. I'm super excited for everyone's school year. I'm praying that we all have a blessed and fruitful and wonderful and rich school year. And again, if you have questions, comments, you can leave them here. Go to my Facebook page, Catherine Gomes, or follow me on Instagram at Homeschool Math Mom. And thanks so much, everybody.